All right, I think we're recording. So welcome to the training. I'm really glad that you're here. I am going to do my very best today to take you through some of the best stuff that I know in the space of about 45 minutes that is going to help you live an FYES life. So let's just dive right in and be honest. Like, are you waking up every morning and getting through your day thinking, FYES, my life is amazing. I'm doing absolutely everything that I want to be doing in my life, and I'm so glad to be doing it. Because if you're not, then and if you're waiting for tomorrow to be happy, sometime in the future to be happy, that's an extraordinarily risky investment, isn't it? So it's my question to you. Are you waking up in the morning saying, fuck yes, I'm so glad to be alive and so glad to be me. I'm so glad to be doing what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. So the question is, okay, it's a great question. I love this question. If you were to suddenly wake up tomorrow and you had all the money you could ever desire, I don't know, let's pick a number, $50 million. You wake up tomorrow with $50 million. Make it $1 billion. Okay, let's just take money out of the equation. You wake up tomorrow, there's $1 billion in your bank account. Okay, what do you do? What do you go and do? Actually, go get a pen and paper. If you don't have some nearby, just pause this recording and get yourself a pen and paper because there'll be some stuff to write down. All right, what would you do? Okay, most people are going to say, okay, they'd go and travel. They'd go and fill their life with amazing experiences, often with their family, those kinds of things. And also looking after their family, making sure their family is set. The family never has to worry about money anymore. Okay, after those two things, you've done all the travel and everything that you could possibly want to at this time, knowing that there'll be more. You've looked after your family, they're secure, your future is secure, you've set your legacy, financial legacy forever. Then what is it that you go and do? Okay, because that's the question. And usually, and my guess is this is the case with you, it's some kind of contribution-based goal. Isn't it? Okay. So then, why aren't you doing that now? Because you know as well as I do that tomorrow may never come. You might not be here next year. The family that you love so much that you want to experience things with in the future, they may not be here. You know that as well as I know. So why are you not doing that thing now? That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you're here on the planet to do. And if you're not doing that, then my guess is you're not waking up every morning going, FYES. All right, so that's what this presentation is all about, okay? So how to live your FYES life. And I think I just spat all over the camera then. Sorry for getting excited. So I'm going to start a presentation and I'm going to share my screen. Yes, I am. This one. Share it. Great. I'm going to start a slide from the beginning. Any minute now. Here we go. FYES. I got it. All right. So clearly, the topic of this conversation, this presentation, is how to live your FYES life. Okay, underneath you can see it's the Think and Grow Rich secret. Think and Grow Rich is a book by Napoleon Hill written way back in 1937. He is known as the grandfather of personal development. Today's billionaires still refer to what it is that he teaches. And in fact, what I'm going to teach you today, a lot of it has come from a billionaire via a millionaire to myself, and I've started to implement it in my life as well. All right, so before we begin, why are you here? I'm here because A, I want to connect with people who are a little bit like me, who are kind of gritty, tenacious achievers, perhaps not, and I'm kind of on the other side of this now, but perhaps you're not quite getting the results that you want. Perhaps you feel like you're always striving for something more, and this thing that you want is never quite in your grasp. Okay, so I want to connect with those people, and if you're not, because I have more to offer, but if you're not one of these people, that wants to work with me further, that would love to have a coach holding you accountable to your FYES life, then I want this presentation to be so value-packed that you go away having awareness about what you need to do in order to lead your FYES life. And you have a decision in front of you after this presentation about what you're going to do. Okay, so if you don't like scary decisions, if you don't think you're ready to actually claim and step into your FYES life, I suggest that you actually turn this webinar off now. All right, this is your chance. Okay, all right, so you're still here. So my goal today for you guys is to show you the science and techniques that you must understand to change your attraction points. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And an exact week-by-week, step-by-step process that is guaranteed to live your FYES life now. Because remember, we don't want to live it tomorrow. Yes, we want our tomorrows to be FYES, but geez, as I said, what a risky investment to say, oh, I'll be happy tomorrow, I'll be happy next year. So after 10 years in business myself and 8 years steeped in personal development, this is the best of the best mindset learnings that I've learned personally and that have been taught to me as well by my mentors who are where I'm moving to. Okay, so something for you to consider. Gravity exists. We know it exists, but is superseded by another force called lift. Okay? Allows planes to take off. On the same token, so hard work exists, and my guess is if you're on this webinar and you're someone that kind of gels with me, you're no stranger to hard work, especially if you're a mumpreneur. I know that you are no stranger to hard work, and that probably that you've got to this point now through a whole lot of hard work. And I just want to say well done to you as well, because hard work exists and it does move the needle. But there are other things that move the needle more than hard work, and that's what I'm going to be talking about during this webinar. Okay, so today is for you if you're an aspirational and motivated person, who wants to get everything out of life. Okay, so one of the things people often say to me is, Helen, like, geez, you just suck the marrow out of life. And, that just makes me really grateful. And please, because, what else is there? What else is there than giving it a good Aussie, a good Kiwi crack? So I appreciate you. I don't want to waste your time. I love talking about this stuff, and it's so easy for this to blow out into a 90-minute, 2-hour presentation. I'm really going to try and condense it down. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan. As I said, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to take you through some cutting-edge techniques, tell you about next steps with me, leave you with some awesome awareness, and you can put your credit card away because you can't actually buy anything on this training. Okay, you can't. we have to move into a strategy session after that to even talk about what working with me looks like. All right, so put your credit card away, relax into the training. Some of you are going to want to end up coaching with me after this. If not, that's awesome. The rest of you are going to have some really great insights around what your next steps are. Okay, have you ever wondered why some people break through and others don't? Okay, have you ever said, if only I had more money, then I could, and then I'd feel? All right, so let's get interactive, all right? You can press pause in a sec. I want you to grab your pen and paper and write this statement down. If I only had more, it doesn't have to be money, okay? In fact, let's just go, if only, dot, 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 then I could, dot, 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 and then I'd feel, dot, dot, dot. All right, so press pause. Okay, so I put this out on my Facebook page not long ago, and it was quite an engaging post, and I got a whole slew of answers, and I could read through them all, but I'm just going to read through two. All right, so here's one. Okay, if only I had more time, then I could get all my work done and spend more time with my family, then I'd feel much more connected. If only I had more confidence, then I could stand in front of a raving audience to deliver my message. Then I'd feel empowered and valued. Here's another one. If only I wasn't afraid of failure, I'd take risks, take action towards my dreams and goals. Then I would feel worthy and empowered. You know, what's the sad thing about this? The sad thing is person A is waiting until tomorrow to feel connected. Person B is waiting for some external circumstance to come true before they can feel empowered and valued. There's another one here actually. If only I had more time and I could do the things I want, then I would feel complete. This person is waiting for something else to feel complete and to do what they want. Come on. This other person, not feeling worthy and empowered. Now, the thing beyond that just being really sad is it's really clear. Let's take the person who wants to feel worthy and empowered, but can't do that until they get the external validation from a raving crowd. You know, and I know that if that person steps onto the stage already not feeling worthy and empowered, they're not going to get that external validation, are they? What comes first? So the problem is your emotional vibration. Okay, some people are going to say more money equals more freedom and abundance. A better relationship equals connection, support, and love. What you want is how you feel, and how you feel is your identity. Okay, so if you're not feeling free and abundant now, your identity is trapped and broke. Okay, if you're not feeling connected, support, and love now, your identity is something else. Okay, and this is the trick. Okay, so I wanted to just get through this right off the bat in case some of you, I don't know, leave. But while I've got you right here, right now, you need to know that the results that you have in your life right now are based on who you are. The person that you are now is taking the action that you've been taking, which is getting you the results. So if you want different results, you need to become a different person. You need a new identity. And the crux of that new identity is how you feel day in, day out. That's your magnetic point. That's your attraction point. Okay, that's the trick. That is the shortest way from A to B. Okay, so what I'm going to cover, the secret 5-step method to magically manifest anything you desire in any area of life without the risk of failure. Secret number 2, how to become limitless using a 3-part neuroscience brain hack. Like, that's it's amazing. It's changed my life. And number 3, a 13-step process that you can follow to live your FYES life today, because that's what this is about. Hey, so I've always been an achiever, you know, the usual school stuff, school captain, A plus, A grades in school, teachers' pets, all that kind of thing. And then I followed my heart. My heart said, Helen, travel. So I did that. This is a picture of Zanzibar, a magical moment I had when, this is from just the internet, but it's a real typical Zanzibar scene, you know. So I just want to show you that for the most part, I've lived an FYES life when it came easy, but it wasn't always that. Okay, I traveled. I went to uni. I was in the top 1% academically in uni, but I wasn't too sure, you know, I wasn't too sure that I was actually following my heart at that point. So I dropped out and I trained as a chef. And I quickly rose through the ranks as a chef. And my career as a chef took me all around the world. Here's me in a like a very normal scene for me back then. That was on top of a ski field in France, and just gorgeous. I met an amazing guy. I decided it was time to settle down, so we moved back to Perth, and I got a job in a very good restaurant. Quickly, again, went through the ranks, ended up as head chef there in one of the best restaurants in Australia. I'm really proud of my time that I spent there. You know, so everything went well, got married to the awesome guy. It's all going well. Um, Decided to set up a business because working in restaurants is not really conducive to having a family. And so I set up a business. It was super successful. I even made $17,000 in one day, which was great. And everything's just kind of steaming along. And then I had Thomas, and things got a little bit trickier at that point. For the most part, you know, things were still going well. I'd worked really, really hard up until this point. I was glad of a bit of time off, and we had been relocated by Dave's company back to Brisbane. So we were in Perth. I've got no family there. Moved back to Brisbane once Thomas was born. They paid for everything. You know, we had a beautiful house in a gorgeous seaside suburb, you know, wonderful community. I was just super happy, really. I had great friends. Really, yeah. I did actually try setting up my business a little bit, but it was just hard. And I was like, oh, I don't need this. We're good. We're right. All right. Okay. But then Dave's company took a great big hit. And I've said this, if you've seen the ad, you know this already. He took a big hit. He was made redundant, and things started to go downhill. We ended up moving to New Zealand because there was some work here for us. And as I said, so began the longest, darkest period of my life. I don't want to go into this too much because you've got your mountains that you're climbing as well. You know, I just want you to know, especially if you're a mum and you don't have local family support, and perhaps your husband doesn't quite get it, and perhaps the people around you don't quite get it, that I am very, very familiar with that pain. You know, so I had a second child. I found out I was pregnant when not long after we arrived in New Zealand. This is me and my mum, and I'm so glad that she could come over when Sophie was born. That's little Sophie. Marriage got really hard at that point. And you know, if you've been through it, you know it. I don't need to tell you about this. It was hard. Business was impossible. You know, it just seemed to me my husband didn't seem to care about my happiness. And when you're financially dependent on somebody else that doesn't seem to care about your happiness, holy shit, I can tell you that's a that's a predicament. So have you been in that predicament? Okay, so it was sort of on my shoulders, like, shit, you know, if I want to live my FYES life, I need to make this happen myself. Okay, and I went through a period where I had like incredibly dark thoughts, negative downward spirals all the time. You know, here I am trying my very, very best to live an FYES life, and I was getting absolutely nowhere. This burning desire, this surety inside, this little spark that was telling me that I was meant for something more than massive piles of laundry forever and ever and ever. But I was getting absolutely nowhere. I was guilty for just being me, you know. So many people think that once you have children that you should just settle down and be grateful for what it is that you've got, and I am grateful. but it didn't mean that this thing just disappeared. I was so unhappy. And I made a decision. I was like, this, because I know that my children are going to grow up being just like me. And I knew that the example I set for them is going to have more power than anything else on the planet for them. So I made a decision. I was like, F no, I am not going to get through my life doing what I'm supposed to be doing, what society thinks I should be doing and should fulfill me. Yet every day more and more starting to empathize with people like Sylvia Plath and those 50s housewives that gassed themselves in their oven because they weren't living their FYES life. I always had this desire to help others to shine, and I was in network marketing for a very, very long time because it helps you to do just that. But my husband was like, no, there's no way you're going to do that. So I loved the personal development side of it. Remember, I'm doing my very best to live my FYES life. Best way I knew how with the resources I had available to me at the time. So I was consuming tons of free motivational content, following a bunch of gurus, beating myself up like an idiot because I was getting nowhere, feeling bad, comparing myself to all of these people up on stage. Then I started comparing my poor husband to these people up on stage. Like I just say that, that's one of the many stupid things that I've done. I was so unhappy. I had no money to return home. I was stuck in a home that did not welcome me, in a country where I felt like I didn't belong and I couldn't get out. As I said, I made the decision, and when I made the decision, the universe responded. Okay, I bought my first $600 mindset course that actually started to talk about subconscious blocks. Okay, I got to a point where I could see these unconscious blocks playing out. Up until then, I was just like trying to get where I wanted to go with my conscious mind, and it wasn't working. Finally, I had a course and I was like, oh, then I could see my unconscious stuff kind of playing out around me. And this course was great. Like, that was a major breakthrough. But it didn't actually give me the tools to do anything else with this unconscious block. So these blocks that I had. So, I could, kind of halfway there, but I'm still stuck. All right. One of the gurus I followed was a chap called Chris Duncan. And he was just one of many at the time. But something happened. He's putting out all this motivational content as well. And then as I'm consuming this content, I could see something has changed. And I started to call BS on that content. I'm like, he's saying one thing, and inside, that's not the vibe. Here we go, the magnetic point. I was not getting the vibe. I'm wondering what's going on. He had my attention at this point. Turned out that, his business partner and best friend had actually just been killed in a scooter accident in Bali. So I'm following this guy because he's like mega successful. And so then I found out that this had happened. And he caught my attention. I suddenly realized what a tenacious, amazing guy he is. And I started listening to everything that he said, because he had a $3 million business at this point. He lost everything in the space of weeks down to minus $300,000. And the stuff I'm going to teach you today is what helped him bring himself back up to where he is now with a $4.5 million company. And it's also been the final few things that have actually made all the difference to me. So I wake up in the morning and I look out the window and I'm thinking about the things that I get to do, and I'm just blown away, so that's Chris, and I'm really honored to be able to introduce you to him today. So to cut a long story short, I bought an amazing course. I was terrified. I'll talk about that in a minute. Bought an amazing course, which it was with the MAP methodology, which deals in subconscious reprogramming. I started reprogramming all my subconscious blocks, and that's when things started to change finally. As I said, I was full of fear buying this course. I was absolutely terrified. It was a $3,500 course. I had $1,000 in the bank. I had no idea if I could actually complete the course, but something in my heart, and we come back to this again, was saying, Helen, you need to do this. So I took my very last $1,000 and I bought the first installment of this course. I made the decision, and again, the universe responded. I don't know what happened, but like big jobs just came in, boom, 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 one after the next, after the next. I was so blown away by what MAP was able to do in my life that I then was able to become certified. And that wasn't an inexpensive process either. 6 months of hardcore training to become certified in subconscious reprogramming. And yeah, as I said, this is when everything changed. Negative thoughts stopped. My psychology was finally free. Like, we don't know how bound up in our psychology we are until it's not there anymore. You know, every day I am so grateful that that voice in my it's just not there. It's not there. I relate to my husband in a whole new way, thank goodness. Painful memories are neutralized. You know, every time we have an argument with our spouse, it's like something new, and then we pile that on top of everything else, you know, and so that's not there anymore. To be able to just start again on a clean slate, like, what would that be worth? What would that be worth to you, to just have a clean slate again, to be able to operate from the now moment in your powerful adult self, knowing the things that you know now with the hard-won wisdom that you have? Okay, so as I said, big jobs came my way. I retrained to be a coach. So I knew what to do. I had become crystal clear on how to transition from being average, because I was really feeling extraordinarily average after being a high achiever for such a long time, back into that top 1%. Okay, because I had a clear vision of what was possible. I'd seen people change their lives now. Okay, ultimate freedom, financial fulfillment, family connection, fitness. Here we go. There are those F's: freedom, financial fulfillment, family connection, and fitness. It was all within reach. But I'd been focusing on healing and not my magnetic point so much. So MAP is amazing at unhooking us from subconscious blocks. I'm going to talk more about that shortly. And it also has an element of magnetism, changing your identity. It has a version of that, but because it was so strong in the healing, I wasn't really focusing on my magnetic point. When I added focusing on my magnetic point to unhooking myself from my unconscious blocks, geez, geez Louise, like that's when everything really took off. And literally, when 6 months ago, it's 6 months since I started going through the process, which I'm going to be talking with you about, and this is how I feel now. Literally, even before Christmas and after Christmas, this is how I feel. And people see me, they go, Helen, what have you done? Like, yep, I've just done this thing, and it enabled me to let go of the last few things that I needed to let go of that was keeping me in my old identity. Once I did that, it was literally like a helium balloon let go. FYES. And this is what I want for you. Is that what you want for you? Okay, so because of this system, this is Chris again. So he's been a two-time best-selling author, married the love of his life, lived in paradise by the beach, has lived and worked in dozens of cities. He's spoken to live audiences over 100,000 people. He's a multi-million-dollar business over multiple times. Remember, he lost it all and built it all back in like it was like 6 months or something. It was crazy. Okay, he's a first-generation millionaire. He's lived a life of freedom, doing what matters most, and I'm insanely grateful to this guy. Yeah, he's the guy I follow. He is my mentor, and what I've got to teach you today, so much of it comes from him. Okay, so what I've got to teach, he has a company called Freedom Fast Track and Point B Education, you can see up here, and I'm 100% backed by these guys. So, you know, not only have I got my entire life experience in coaching and personal development, also backed by the weight of his company. All right, so yeah, I said he built a $4.5 million company twice again. He's certified in NLP twice, in hypnosis, success strategies, life coaching. He's been to a bunch of Robbins seminars, Money and You, Matrix Energetics. He's also qualified in manifesting all possibilities, okay, just to let you know that it's a pretty awesome thing we've got going there, and EFT too. So you name it, he did it, and what he's done is distilled the best of his trainings into a process which I'm going to talk about at the end of the webinar for those of you who are interested. All right, so it's called the Magnetic Mind Program. And he studied neuroscience, epigenetics. So this is all the stuff that I'm studying now. Like, I'm not one for just taking what people tell me and running with it. Like, it needs to make sense to, you know, there's something deep inside that it makes sense to, but it needs to make sense to my conscious mind. I need to know that other people out there who are believable and who have more experience in a certain field than I do back this stuff up. Okay, so this is all the stuff that, you know, I can give you the science behind it as well. But he went and interviewed billionaires and reverse engineered what worked for him and also what worked for them. Okay, so one of them in particular was saying, he was just blown away by Chris's rebound story, and he was saying that, you know what, Chris, it is all vibration, it is all thinking and manifesting. And he said, Chris, you got to teach what you know, and it's the truth. And I have to say, you know, in all of the personal development stuff that I've done so far, some of this I'd never come across before. Okay, so the fastest way from point A to point B is to find somewhere who's already doing what it is that you want to do and follow them. Okay, so if I'm doing what you want to do, you know, living what makes me so happy, if you can't tell, I have a strategy in place, I have systems in place that will give me financial freedom. What else? I'm relating to my family, my husband in a completely new way. I wake up every morning just astounded by the magnificence that is around me. You know, I'm just ridiculously happy most of the time. Okay, so if this is where you want to be, I'm there. All right. Chris is where I want to be, so I'm following him. Okay, he's my next step along. Okay, there's a story about monkeys. I'm just going to run over it really quickly. The story is, and if you've been around personal development for a while, you've probably heard it. There are a bunch of monkeys, and scientists want to do an experiment, and they put them in a cage with a ladder and some bananas hanging up the top. And what do you expect? The monkeys go up and they grab the bananas, and they go up and grab the bananas, and they go up and grab the bananas, as you would expect. And then they changed it up a little bit. So they had this fire hose, or a hose at least, something that's uncomfortable to the monkeys enough to deter them. So when the monkeys go up to get the bananas, they get sprayed with this water, okay, and they go down. And eventually they no longer start going for the bananas, and they know, oh, too hard bananas, too much pain, don't go there. Okay, and then what the scientists do is they take out one monkey and replace it with another. Okay, so of course the first thing, the monkey goes into the cage and he goes, oh, look, bananas, I'll have bananas, thank you very much. Makes a move to go get the bananas, and the other two monkeys prevent him from doing that. Okay, and then they take another of the original monkeys out and they put a new one in. Same thing happens. Okay, the new monkey goes, hey, bananas, and the two monkeys go, you don't want to do that. Okay. The interesting thing, you know, about this story, and I'm sure that you can predict what this is about, is they finally take the last original monkey out and they put a new monkey in. So now you've got three monkeys, none of which have ever actually been up that ladder. And they're all sitting there with bananas there, and they're all telling each other, don't go for the bananas. It's a trap. It's too dangerous. Stay where you are. That's what's safe. Okay, so the question is, you know, what does this have in common with you? And that's my question to you. And but if you're a little bit like me, you know, as I said, I like to know that whatever I'm teaching is based on good solid science. You know, so part of my like BS alert is ringing the first time I heard this story, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if this is true. It sounds a bit urban mythy to me. So I researched it, and you know, it is a lot of the ways it's told. In fact, the way I told it to you today is an urban myth, but it is based on a scientific experiment. The experiment was a little bit more nuanced. So it was looking at facial expressions and how facial expressions and body language could have an effect on other people. Okay, so I don't think the monkeys actually went and physically grabbed the monkeys and prevented them from getting the bananas, but what they did do was they did affect whether or not the monkey thought that going for the banana was a good idea. Okay, so that's true, and I just wanted to tell you that because I want you to know how important it is for me to give you good information. All right. Okay, so I trust Chris. I trust him. He has the same vibe as me. Okay, so if you don't have the same vibe as me, if something about me is annoying you, then I'm probably not the person for you. Maybe just watch the end of this webinar and find a coach who vibes with you more. Okay, but I vibe with Chris. He's got the same energy as me. He's got the same drive, same determination. I'm not Kiwi, but he's actually a Kiwi as well. He's now in Australia. So, and I'm Australian living in New Zealand. And so I went all in. I was like, this works for Chris. I've done a lot of stuff that works, but it's not quite, I wasn't quite there yet. And to be honest, I trust him, but half of me just did it for social reasons. Half of me wanted to be a part of Chris's fast track team, all ships rising together. I know he's going places, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to have, the other tribe members alongside of me because this is my idea of fun, This is my FYES life. Part of me thought that I was already trained in the most cutting edge, powerful subconscious reprogramming tool on the planet. Part of me didn't actually expect to get any further personal development. I kind of thought I'd done it all, but I went all in anyway. I started working on my magnetic point daily. And yeah, as I said, that was like the final few things that just changed everything. So things are created twice. Okay, I talk about mindset. I'm a mindset coach. I'm a relationship coach. Things are created twice. We first create them in our mind, and then we create them in reality. So our mindset is everything. Clearly, if this isn't right, if this isn't at capacity, if this isn't sort of optimal, then we can't create anything greater than we can create first in our mind. All right, so I want to talk about something. This is the crux of it. Okay, and I want to talk about structural tension, and I'd never heard anyone talk about this before, but I want you to imagine you've got a rubber band, okay, and you get this rubber band, and imagine down here is where you are currently, all right, and up here is where you want to go, right? Imagine that. Okay, now tension seeks release, doesn't it? We know that. We know that. Okay, so, and it will always seek the path of least resistance. Okay, so we could let go of this one here, this where you currently are. Okay, and this is your identity, by the way. This is your magnetic point. Right now, you've got this identity. It's creating the results that you've currently got in life. This is where you want to go. This is your new identity. Okay, now it's a tension. It's like, I'm here, but I want to be here. I'm here, but I want to be here. Now, what is the path of least resistance? So we could, we could let go of this end of the rubber band, or we could let go of this end. Okay, this end letting go of who you are now, this end letting go of who you are becoming. All right, and I just need to tell you that the path of least resistance is letting go of who it is that you're becoming, because it's almost like you've built yourself a tent. Like you are so tied to your current reality, and there are different ways of being aligned, and I just want you to know what these are. Okay, so your current reality, you're currently kind of tethered like tent pegs in your current reality. Okay, so one of them you're not tethered with is your conscious mind. Okay, so that is good news. Did you get that? That is the best news, because everything else is going to sound a little bit bad. Your conscious mind wants to thrive. Okay, and it thinks, I think it would be great to have a lot of money and go on adventures and do all the things that I want to do. That'll be fun. Okay, so this is your conscious mind sets up that tension that I'm talking about. Then you've got but you're here in your current reality, and one of the tent pegs is your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind's purpose is to stay safe, and it does that by knowing that it's survived so far. Okay, and it knows that everything in your past is survivable and it will want, all it wants is more of that. Okay, its sole purpose is to survive and carry on the species. Okay, now your body is another tent peg. Your biochemistry. You are addicted to your biochemistry. Okay, and the way this works, and it's kind of in cahoots with your subconscious mind, and this is so important. This is like the piece of the webinar. Okay, your subconscious mind is in cahoots with your biochemistry. And this happens, so let's say you've been broke your entire life. Okay, and your subconscious mind goes, well, you know, I know that I can survive broke, so I just want more broke. And so you get more broke and you find situations that help you to feel broke. Now, the clue here is when I said feel. Okay, so when you feel something, when you feel broke, your brain sends actual body chemistry down into your cells. Now, in your cells, and this is where we're starting to get into epigenetics, and it's so fascinating, and I can give you resources to look at if you want. But in your cells have a membrane, okay, and in the membrane are receptor sites, and these receptor sites, you have a whole bunch of them for all different scenarios in your environment, okay, but you have one for being broke. Okay, it's a particular feeling. You have a receptor site for that feeling. It actually locks onto it like a key. And the more you feed your body the feeling of, which is the chemical of broke, that your cell can lock onto, the more your cell optimizes itself for that feeling, and it gets easier and easier and easier to feel that feeling. Okay, and you become literally addicted to this feeling. Okay, so when you go out and say, oh, I'm not going to be broke anymore, I'm going to go and do other things, I'm going to be a different person that is not broke, I'm going to be a rich person. your body's number one rule is homeostasis, is to stay the same. So when you start feeding, stop that flood of the biochemicals, your body's going to go, what? Where's my fix? And it's going to do everything it can to sabotage you from making it to this point. Okay, so what have we talked about? We've talked about, so keeping you stuck is your subconscious mind and your brain chemistry. Okay, it's just your identity. So what I want you to get though, it is so hard without help, without a coach, without someone holding you to this new identity. It is so hard to let go of that old identity so that you can be catapulted off into your new identity, your new reality. How amazing would it be to have someone that's actually going to give you the tools and techniques, the accountability, that means that we actually let go of this old identity. Because chances are, you know, and this stuff is unconscious, and the nature of it being unconscious is that you can't see it. You can't see it. Okay, once you can see it, then you need to do something about it. And there's a whole, it's not like you just snap your fingers and suddenly poof, all your subconscious stuff is gone, unfortunately. All right, so I want to support you in that way. And I found my own sabotage patterns. Like I said, those last few things that made all the difference to me. I stopped reinforcing what wasn't working and I took the right action. Okay, you must be in your future feeling now. Feeling, it's the identity. Okay, we can change lots of things, but the hack is to change the feeling. If you change the feeling of the new identity, all those other things will sort themselves out and you'll become aligned into the direction that you're going. And when you're aligned perfectly, that's when you actually take momentum. Okay, so being in the future feeling now, that's so important. The trick, I am truly satisfied with everything that I have right now and I want more. That's the magic statement. I know I keep saying this is the magic statement, but I did say I'm just like packing the best of the best into this training. Okay, this is it. To be able to say I am truly satisfied with everything I have now at this point in my journey, and I'm so looking forward to the rest of the journey and where it is that I'm going. Okay, the future feeling now. We must let go of trying to get somewhere or get away from something. It's amazing what shows up when we just step into the FYES moment right now. Okay, so as I said, yep, I had to change. I had to find success now. I've always been chasing success. It had to be now, and I've got it. So I pulled myself together, implemented exactly what I was taught. A clear contribution-based vision. We talked about that right at the beginning. Okay, why aren't you doing that? You have a choice now that I've kind of said that clearly. If your heart is asking you to do something else and you're doing not that, that's not aligned, okay? Aligned mind and emotion of the end result. We want aligned strategy, okay? We want aligned body chemistry. And you need to align also the people around you, okay? So that one of those people is a coach. I've had a coach since probably 2.5 years to 3 years. I've always been in some sort of coaching scenario. You need to have a coach. Every high performer has a coach, okay? And you also need to surround yourself with people who want to see you in that new identity, who already see you in that new identity. And as a coach, that's it's my job, but I can't help but do it. If you've got that spark inside of you that's saying, hey, kind of my reality on the outside is this, but inside I'm this, I don't know, maybe I got special eyes or something, but that's how I see you. Have you got any idea how valuable that is? All right. So this is what you need as well. I decided to create internal success first, just like a seed. I'm not going to dive into that today, but as I said, yeah, people are just a couple of months ago, Helen, I don't know what you've done, but you're not even the same person you were a few months ago. Wow, like that's from my friend Maria. Helen, you found your calling, from Kate. Helen, you're on fire. I didn't actually do anything. All I did was undo a few things. I'm just living my life, who I'm meant to be in this moment. And fuck it, I'm happy. All right. So it's a dream come true. I live in a beautiful part of the world, a beautiful family, truly inspiring friends, amazing circle of influence, like amazing. I just pinch myself all the time. I can earn great money doing exactly what I love, like, hello, I'm doing it, and right now, and I look forward to more. Okay, what is brain plasticity? Okay, it's the science and study of a physical process. Grey matter can shrink and thicken. We create neural pathways. I don't think I need to convince you of this anymore. We know now that they used to think that brains were hardwired and they were hardwired for life, but we know that's not the case now. I'm just going to skip through this because you can change. Science tells you you can change. Follow Joe Dispenza. He is showing the world people changing their lives, healing themselves from the inside out, just from changing the way they think. Okay, I'm just going to skip through these slides because that was a slide of an actual neuron making new connections. You can make new connections. So the point is, all you need to do is learn to be your new identity. That's all you need. If you can learn, if you're a human being that can learn, that can allow other people to support you in your learning, then you can do this too. You can live your FYES life now and be excited about the stuff that actually shows up for you. Okay, so what's important? Contribution-based clarity, that thing that you either are doing or you're not doing currently. That comes from deep inside of you. Neuroscience, epigenetics, and the spiritual laws of money. Okay, this is what we need to make everything in your life actually come true. Spiritual laws of money, that's giving value. Are you adding massive value to other people's lives? Which harks back to the contribution-based clarity. Have you got a contribution-based goal? If you've got a contribution-based goal, you're probably adding value, which means money will come back in, but the third and final piece, and it's so important, is that you're taking daily action. If you're doing this, you can't help but manifest your FYES life now. Okay? And that's my job, is to support you in that, giving you the tools, the systems, the structures, and the support and the community to help you to live your FYES life now. Okay, so I have a 12-week process. It's not for everybody. As I said, it's for those of you who are ready for change. You've had enough, who maybe you're not doing your thing, the thing that makes your heart sing. Or maybe you are, but for some reason you're not taking the action and you're somehow stuck with some of those tent pegs that I was talking about. But this process will take anyone from struggle and sacrifice to living an FYES life. Okay, so even if you don't quite know what your contribution-based clarity is, you can even use this process to do that. And what I will say as well is you don't have to. It's not like a 12-week program where you do it and then we let you go and say, I'll see you later. So once you're in and you've been through the process, it takes practice. As I said, you need to learn this. Once you're alumni for life, if you like. I've got people, this is the 4th time I'm still going through this process, and each time I have breakthroughs. I've got people who are coming back for their 2nd round with me now. Most of them, the most common thing people are saying to me actually is, Helen, I need this. You know, okay, so I've got something that will help you to get this. Guaranteed, I promise you, if you do what I show you, this will happen for you. Okay, your natural conflicts will stop you. We've talked about this. Okay, so what's your sabotage pattern? As I said, if you don't work with me later on, at least have some awareness of what's going on for you right now, so you can go and find yourself a coach to help you sort this out. Okay, so we want to have a true goal. What do I mean by that? A true goal means you're not trying to achieve something to fix something else. Okay, not trying to, your goal of being up on stage in front of a raving audience because you want to fix not feeling worthy and empowered. Okay, that's what I mean. You know, is it coming from a place like children when they play? Hey, I'm curious. This will be fun. Okay, that's important. Okay, I just want to, I want you to have a think about that. I'm really trying to get through this in as little time as possible, but all of this stuff is so important. Okay, so what's your future goal? Let's do this quickly. We're going to do this super quick, but close your eyes. What is your future goal? I want you to just step into that moment. Step into that moment. I want you to create the scene. I want you to think of everything what can you see? What can you feel? What's the temperature? Are you inside? Are you outside? Is there a breeze? Is the sun shining? Who else is there? Are there people around you? Create that scene. Okay, all right, now just open your eyes. I want you to kind of snap out of that. And I want to ask you, what's your reality like now? Compared to that, what's it like now? And it's okay, it's kind of, well, maybe it's not. I don't know. What's it like now? Compared to all the things that you have there, what's it like now? Okay, now one more thing. I want you just to step back into your point B, that scene. You've created the thing, you've got the goal, you've achieved what it is that you've set out to achieve. You're feeling those feelings that you talked about before. Okay, now I want you to just to find a perfect spot. And I want you to sit down in this perfect spot and just relax. Just kind of, I don't know, the perfect spot, do whatever it is that you do when you just relax. Put your hands behind your head, cross your feet, whatever, and just imagine yourself doing that. And as you're relaxing, I want you just to start allowing your mind to wander. Everything is so FYES for you right now, and you're just so relaxed. There's nothing to really think about or worry about, and your mind begins to wander. And it wanders all the way back to this moment now where you're sitting watching this webinar with me. Okay, now as you're sitting there in your FYES life, reminiscing about that time when you started to think you might make a decision about actually making this reality a reality, what is the obvious action that you had to take that actually made all the difference? This is an internal wisdom exercise. And so I want you just to feel into your heart, and whatever comes up first from that sort of deep internal place, I want you to open your eyes and write that down. Okay, now I want to ask you, and you can just press pause between these. What are your reservations or stories that are stopping you? It's like, yeah, I want to do this, but I'll be judged, or I don't have the money, or my husband doesn't support me, whatever. What are your reservations or stories that are stopping you from taking that action? And my guess is that you've already known about taking this action. My guess this is not new information for you. All right, so we're getting to some real awareness stuff for you. Okay, what are your judgments of yourself or others? People will think I'm greedy. People will think I'm up myself, which is actually a judgment on them too. But this is just another way of kind of asking the same question. What are your inner conflicts? Part of me wants to do this, but part of me doesn't. That's what an inner conflict is like. I had a major inner conflict. I was not living my FYES life because I was in a business which at one point was my FYES life, and it worked for me in the past. And my FYES life a couple of years ago was in network marketing. I loved it. As I said, teaching other people to shine is what I've always wanted to do. When I saw that, I was like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. And network marketing was my vehicle for it. But my husband said no, and we butted heads for 3 years over that. Me trying to live my FYES life through that. Him really making my life not as FYES as I wanted it to be. And eventually I gave that up for the sake of the marriage. But yeah, coaching is another vehicle. And I'm really glad of that experience, because I'm so glad to be right here. Okay, but it's only just recently that, so because my husband said, no, you're not doing network marketing, I set up my cooking school again. It's not what I wanted to do. My FYES life was in network marketing. My FYES life was in teaching other people to shine. But I did something because somebody else thought that I should, and I thought maybe I should. I thought it was a responsible thing to do, and it was, it really wasn't fun. So then I'm living for like 2-3 years. Part of me wanting to live my FYES life, coaching, in that realm. Part of me feeling, oh, I need to be doing this. I need to be responsible. I need to leverage all the stuff that I've already created, because this was quite a successful business back in Australia. Okay, now here's the question. How do you resolve the tension? Okay, because you haven't done the thing. You've got a thing, an action. And if you do that action, everything's going to change, but you haven't done the action. So how have you let yourself off the hook? How have you managed to avoid not doing the action? All right. For me, I needed to let that business go, and it took me 3 years to do that. Took me 3 years to do that. And for me, that was a sneaky subconscious part, kind of one of those inner conflicts. Okay. So I just did it all. That's how I resolved the tension. I had some belief that I could actually do it all, and I tried, and I ran myself and my company into the ground. Okay, but what do? Some of you might procrastinate. Some of you might just get super busy. Some of you might eat. What do you do to resolve the tension? And this is your sabotage pattern, people. Hello. And my other question, this slide goes back to that other question about having a true goal. Okay. Because you could say, oh, I want to be up on stage and speak in front of a raving audience. Because really, deep inside, if I was to be truthful, I don't feel worthy. I am not good enough. I don't belong. I am insignificant or invisible. I don't have the capacity. I need to be perfect. I'm ugly. I'm unlovable. They're big things. And even if you've got a little sneaky little suspicion under there that the stuff that you're trying to do in your life, your goals are to fix one of these ways that you're incomplete, that's a really big pattern. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of that. got my slides back to front. So some of the things that some mistakes we unconsciously make, thinking something external will make something internal different. We go back to that example of the woman up on stage, thinking that all of the external validation is, when she's alone by herself, her stuff's still going to be coming up there. We know that's not actually how it works, isn't it? Okay, putting the power in something external to make us feel something different inside. And the worst one is people. If you put your power when this person, because I remember I'm a relationship coach as well, if you say, oh, when my partner does this or this, then I'll feel that. That is the worst of all, because who can you control? You can only control yourself. You cannot control other people. So if you put your power in something external, especially another person or people, that is very bad advice to take. Please stop doing that now. Another mistake we make is taking advice from 7-year-olds. And we do this. Most of our subconscious patterns, and we operate 95% of the time from our subconscious patterns that we developed in our first 7 years of life, okay? And if we're taking our advice from people who haven't actually worked on their mindset, who haven't worked on their subconscious patterns, they're just going to be feeding you the stuff that they absorbed when they were, 1 to 7, 0 to 7, which came from their parents, which they absorbed from the years of 0 to 7, and it goes back generations and generations. Okay, so be super careful of who you're taking your advice from, and also trying to avoid failure. We can't be afraid of failure. We can be afraid of failure. We can't let that fear stop us. Okay? Because if we're not stretching ourselves to the point where we might fail, we're not stretching ourselves enough. Okay? We need to embrace the possibility of failure. Here's some big mistakes a lot of people make. Not clear on what you really want. Okay? We talked about that contribution-based clarity. Only on what you do not want. Stuck in a limiting pattern. Those tent pegs I was talking about. Living to make someone else happy. Who's doing that? I was doing that, and it made me so miserable and everybody else around me miserable. Okay, you have not shifted your core beliefs and are only focused on strategy. Okay, that was shifting a couple of core beliefs, and I've done a lot, but this process really was so powerful in uncovering those final few. That made all the difference for me. You must unhook yourself from your subconscious patterns. Mistake number 5, trying to find proof of future success in your past. You don't have it. Even if you were a high achiever before, like I was, I didn't have any proof of being a high achiever and then going down to feeling trapped and so unhappy and failing to then rebounding. We don't have proof in our future. Okay, your friends are going to be holding you small as well. Your circle of influence is vital. If you're in personal development, you know this already. Okay. Mistake number 6, you are out of emotional alignment with what you desire. Okay, not only emotional alignment, all of those alignments. Your conscious brain needs to be in alignment. Your subconscious brain needs to be in alignment. Your neurochemistry, your feelings every day need to be in alignment. Your strategy needs to be in alignment. All of these things need to be in alignment. If you're not in alignment, you're just not going to get there. It's really simple. You don't have mentors where you want to be. So again, your circle of influence needs to be in alignment. Okay, the truth is that 64% of billionaires are self-made. I'm going to flick through this. They're just like you, just like me. Okay, this is where the good news of the conscious brain actually wanting to thrive is good news, because with our conscious brain, we can actually change everything else. This is where free will and desire live. And with this, we can change everything else if you decide and you take action. Okay, Mark Cuban, let's just flick through these. Albert Einstein, these aren't all billionaires, but these are ordinary people that came to live a life of elite performance. Jim Carrey, Steven Spielberg, Oprah, Jay-Z. Okay, some of you Look, we're going to get to the end of the call soon, and I want to work with some of you. For some of you, I'm going to be the right coach for you. Okay, and you're going to start getting those reservations pop up. For some of you, getting a coach, actually moving into a coaching scenario is going to be your next step. But there's going to be some reservations popping up. You might think that you don't have time. The program that I've got to take you through, it takes a couple of hours in the first 2 weeks to get everything set up. But after that, it's just 30 minutes of your time weekly in the mornings, and then plus 1 hour sometime during the week. Okay, it's not that much. Some people have problems sticking to things. My people don't. If you're a big procrastinator, I can hook you up with someone else. Okay, so yeah. Okay, now this is what I wanted to dive into: how to become limitless using a 3-part neuroscience brain hack. This is amazing. All right. You must make up your mind. You can only have results if you believe it's possible. This is the stuff that Napoleon Hill talks about way back in 1937, that so many people have built empires on. You limit yourself based on what you think is possible. Okay, your past will limit you. You're worried about what people will think about you, when you change. Okay, here are some patterns. You're holding on to the past. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to ask you, are you ready to step up and live your FYES life and come and do some coaching with me? If we don't vibe, then that's all right, and that's fine. And if you want, I can certainly refer you to other coaches. It would be my delight to do that. Okay, so even if I'm not the one to help you and you want help, ask me and I'll hook you up. Okay, but if you think I might be the one to help you and what I've got is what's going to help you, okay, these are going to be the natures of your patterns that are going to say, oh, to avoid the thing. Okay, so first is you're holding on to the past. You've got no proof that you can do that. Okay, or you've got if then I'll. Okay, this is a good one. If I win the lottery next week, then I'll do coaching with Helen. Or if I manage to sort out my schedule, then I'll do coaching with Helen. Okay, that's a sneaky one because it seems really powerful. There's never a good time for coaching. That's why there's never a good time for the right coaching. That's why you need the coaching. It's always like that. Okay, overthinking. Okay, that's just a fear mechanism. Or dabbling, talking. How am I going to be doing coaching with Helen next year? When I saw this amazing webinar, and you go on to another webinar. Keeping busy is kind of a thing with dabblers as well. Okay, so are any of those jumping out at you? And if they are, is today the day that you decide not to listen to that pattern and to actually take decisive action and change your life? All right, so you need to decide. This is the hack. Okay, you decide. Just make a decision now. Why don't we do this right now? Are you going to coach with me? Don't worry about how much it costs or anything like that. Okay, don't worry about that. That stuff can be figured out. Are you going to coach with me after watching this presentation? Yes or no? Okay, no, it's fine. So good. If it's yes, all right. You need to be able to imagine it in perfect completion. I teach you this. I teach you this in depth. If you coach with me, you are going to be so good at this 3-part brain hack. It's just like second nature. It is the most powerful thing. I do it every morning. I love it. My clients love it. They're like, holy crap, this is amazing. We do this right off the bat, okay? It's a visualization process, visualizing it in perfect completion. Okay, and then what we call a neuro-emotional embed. So that's teaching your body new biochemistry. Okay, getting you unhooked from that old identity. Okay, and I wish I could say it just happens like that, but it doesn't. Your body is going to fight you tooth and nail, and your subconscious tooth and nail, to turn into this new identity. And that's why you need coaching. Okay, so decide on what the next milestone is. I think it's coaching with me, maybe it's something else. Okay, imagine it in perfect completion. See it done in your mind's eye. Feel what it feels like to have that done. And then operate from that feeling. Okay? That's all you need to do. You need to change that, if you do just that thing, like that's amazing. That's just changed so much for you. But really, if you really want change, you're going to have to change your beliefs. You're going to have to change your family entanglements, your family story, and which is so huge. You need to change your limiting emotions. You need to change your unconscious desires and rules. These are all the things that make you you. You need to change your identity, but you can learn to change your identity. And I am trained, highly trained, to support you in the process of changing your identity. Now, you get to keep all of the good stuff, by the way. You get to keep all the good stuff that has served you so well. You don't have to lose that at all. But you do get to let go of the stuff that belongs to the 7-year-old that is no longer serving you on your life's journey. You need to change those deep internal core wounds that we talked about. Okay, you need to assimilate conflicting parts, cognitive dissonance. You need to get in alignment. I'm trained to help you to get in alignment. There's nothing I want more. If I could just get someone and put them in alignment, that's all there is to it. It's the simplest thing when you see it, but you just need to know what to do. Okay. I've talked about you can change. You know that. There we go. Neurons. You might think that you're not ready. You might think that you're not talented enough. You might think that you don't know enough. Okay, hooray, this is a pattern. This isn't actually true. I know this isn't true. So even though you might think that you're not talented enough, even though you might think that you don't know enough, even though you might think that you can't change, I know that you are talented enough. I know that you can change. I know that you can learn to be this new person. Okay. About neural pathways, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So how do you create your magnetic mind? All right. You just need to find someone who has the strategies, and I have the strategies, okay, just like I did, and I applied myself, and I've created this for myself. Like, I'm not kidding you. Have a look on my Facebook. I don't know, hit some friends up, ask them if I've changed over the last 6 months or so. For those of you who are ready to stop saying if then I'll, to stop doing something that's not making your heart sing now, for those of you who are ready to change, I would like to introduce to you the Magnetic Mind Masterclass. It's for anyone wanting to magnetically create their future now. Okay, you get a full online university. It's really well set up. You get a 12-week program. It guides you step by step from surviving to thriving. And it's not just me, by the way. This program, Chris has set up this program. So he's taking dozens of people through this. I don't know how many he's taken through this process now, but he's doing it and it's working. And I've taken 2 groups of people through this process now. So already 24 weeks I've been teaching this with 2 different people, 2 different groups of people. And yeah, look, it's just amazing seeing people let go of their shit and start just operating from who it is that they're truly meant to be. You know, there's nothing more satisfying as a coach. Okay. So we firstly sort out your mission, again, contribution-based clarity, your vision and your values. We go into some unconscious unpacking questions. This is all about internal leverage. It's all about internal leverage. If you're a business person, you know it's about leverage, yet we've got this massive untapped resource within us. Okay, so this program is about using that to our best advantage. Okay, we've got 11 change patterns and 3 core scripts that we use. The emotional conditioning procedure, which is amazing. You'll love it. Okay, you get weekly coaching with me, either one-on-one, weekly, or in a group, and I love both options. And by the way, if you're in one-on-one, you also get the group option too. Okay, so I think groups are powerful. When we all move together and see each other in their point be self, we hold each other to that standard. That's super powerful. So that's what I love about groups is they cost less because I can deliver to more at the same time. Yet you get this whole group of people who are holding you to your FYES life and your FYES state of being. Okay, and you've got 2 options there. All right. Okay, so we create your lenses. We learn the nature of reality, the swing circle, and the outcome frame. This is all the stuff we do. We align your values. We sort out your internal state. We go through something called a perceptual shift process. Getting into alignment. That thing. It's the thing. Alignment is key in those different areas that I talked about. That's all it is. If only you knew before, it was so simple. Okay. We go into a redecision. We white out negative emotions. We go into the quantum model, which is really cool. We remove those internal conflicts. Like that week 9, Jesus, that was the thing that just changed everything. And it was so surprising when I saw it. But when I saw it and when I applied the tools that I was given to let it go, that's when everything changed. So week 9 was massive for me. Week 10, magic of metaphors. Week 11, family entanglements. Okay, that was another huge one for me. Family stories that's a big peg keeping you where you are currently. Okay, and then the matrix, how it all really works, and the double bubble, which is also cool. So that's the 12-week process. As I said, I've taken 2 groups through it now, and there's a whole bunch of testimonials of people absolutely loving it. Yeah, I've already told you what you're going to get. Okay, there's a whole bunch of visualizations and meditations. Look, right back to Napoleon Hill, it's still visualizations. It's still paving the way, creating this thing that we're creating in our mind first. Okay, we have a whole bunch of wonderful meditations, visualizations to help you do this. Who does it work for? Anyone committed? Okay, committed is important to learning a process to create predictable change, and who wants to create a business. Generally, I work with business people, it doesn't have to be, to have total freedom now. Does it sound like you? Why might you not get started? You think you're not ready. I've already told you about that, okay? That's just a pattern. It's hard though, like your conscious mind will fight you. Okay, but just know that that's a pattern if you think you're not ready. But we can talk about that. I'm not into, and just I want you to know, I'm not into delusion, So if you've got a real kind of financial situation or kind of real constraints, then we'll look at that. Let's have a strategy session to actually look at that and work out, what needs to happen, because, you can have all the mindset in the world, but if your strategy sucks, or you've got like logistical barriers that are really real, and if you're a mum, you kind of know that I'm not bullshitting you here, then that needs to be looked at. Okay, but don't let those things stop you. Here's the thing, like an excuse is only a reason that stops you, and you are going to have myriad reasons. You're going to have so many amazing reasons not to live your FYES life, but it's up to you to decide whether it becomes an excuse or not. Okay, so even if you think you're not ready, let's just talk about that. Okay, so here's a few testimonials from some clients, and I'm so lucky to have some super exciting clients at the moment. Jessie saying, Helen, top-notch ninja with efficiency codes dialed in. I'm big on action. We don't just sit on rocks and meditate in this course, okay? We get the right work done. Okay, Jessie, world champion martial artist multiple times. Anyone knows Jesse knows he is a force to be reckoned with, and I get to coach him, and I am super stoked about that. Ricky Ricky, mindset performance coach to really high achievers. I've been a client of Ricky for a while. He said, Helen's a gun. All right. I like that. Thank you, Ricky. Sha-En, yo. Okay, she's yo Sha-En. She's amazing, and I talk about my circle of influence. Like, she's such a good friend of mine, but she's also a positive psychologist that is really well known in the world. She actually collaborates with people like Jack Canfield and those kinds of things. You know, so she's got great things to say about working with me. Val is the head trainer of the MAP Coaching Institute, the most powerful subconscious reprogramming tool I've ever come across. And by the way, I use this too. So I will use MAP in the stuff that we do, as well as creating the magnetic point. I needed to say that. Okay, so Val, from day one, Helen has always been a person with tremendous energy, focus, and openness to learn. Okay, do you see openness to learn? That's key. I've taught many coaches from all over the world, and Helen has always stood out as someone who had a hunger for the knowledge and skills to help herself and help the people that she serves. Like, that's just me in a nutshell there. And here's Chris. Helen takes massive action. She walks her talk. Over the last 2 years, I've seen her take herself on, push through her limits, create a life she totally loves. I've coached over 8,000 people, and Helen stands out. So if you want to live a life that you scream F yes to, you should hire Helen. Okay. Before you hire me, you can't, so what are your next steps? As I said, you can't actually buy anything. There's no funnel here that you can go and put your credit card in. But if you think it's time to take the steps that I've just outlined, you know, that I know they've worked for me, they're working for other people. Okay, our next step together is a strategy session. Okay, it's a 30 to 45-minute call on the phone where we actually dive into what these patterns that's stopping you. And it might be logistical. Okay, but that's okay, because that's work outable too. And that's one of the things that I think sets me apart from other mindset coaches, is that I believe in strategy. Strategy is vital. You know, so we move the mindset stuff that's in the way, we move the logistical stuff that's in the way, and we get you aligned and getting to where it is that you want to go. Having fun in the process too. Okay, so yes, there will be, I think there's a button below or around, just click to book a call. You'll see my calendar. You go in, you set your time zone, you have a look at the date that might be good for you. When you click on that date, it'll come up with a whole bunch of options. Just choose one, and then we'll jump on a call. Like, there's no obligation at all. You know, I don't want to waste your time, so long as you don't waste my time either. I want you to be decisive that you're ready to change. And yeah, we'll look into it and see what's actually going on. And then at the end of that, then you can make a decision about whether it is you work for me with me or not. And I've got options, budgets, payment plans to suit everybody, really. So don't let that stop you. Don't let money stop you if you think that's the only thing that you're gonna use that as your excuse. Please don't let money stop you from getting in on a strategy session, at least. Okay, very least you'll get some really tailored advice that you can take with you to move on to live your FYES life. All right, so I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much for your time. I don't know how long it took to get through this. I tried really hard to bust through all the important stuff, but yeah, look, I hope this was useful, and I'm really looking forward to jumping on some strategy calls with some of you. Okay, all right, I love you guys. Bye.